Staycity Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Staycity because Staycity is the smart choice. Staycity, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go-Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship and initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing club championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go-Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up, and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Howth village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be to try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killiney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family, it's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devitt is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill, people are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All-Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring a raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
A very good afternoon and you're welcome to Parnell Park in Donnycarney, North Dublin, where it's round 4 of the Go-Ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. We've a tasty double-header in store for you this afternoon, the first instalment of which involves the bottom 2 sides in Group 1, Cuala Loughorns with St Bridgets. Both sides are seeking a first win of the campaign, although the Dalkey Club do have a single point on the board as a result of a draw with Lucan Sarsfields in the last round. I'm delighted to be joined in our commentary position by former Westmeath manager and indeed a Leinster Championship winning manager with Dublin at both minor and under 21 grade as it was then. That's Joe Fortune. Joe, before we take a look at the respective lineups, the table I suppose makes for rather grim reading for the two sides locking horns here today. It's been a fairly torrid championship campaign to date.
Yeah, strange one really, Sean. Like when you look at the whole idea of like a couple of years ago, like Cuala were really in their pomp, you know, and maybe 5-6 years ago as well, Brigids were in county finals, consecutive county finals under Johnny McGurk as well. We're so close to getting over the line. So I'd say both clubs now are really looking at today as being a massive part in what's coming ahead for both of them. And both of them are missing players. I think we're going to see a real battle today for survival, because whoever loses today could be in a really perilous position in regards to going towards a relegation game.
They also need Cuala, speaking to their manager John McCarthy a short time ago, they need a favour, they need things to go their way in terms of leapfrogging not just Cuala but catching up with Lucan Sarsfields as well.
It's a long time since a Dublin hurling person has stood here and spoken about, you know, Cuala not having a win on the board yet. They had such an elusive time and an impressive time under Matty and that, and just the last couple of years some of the stalwarts have stepped away. But look, they've got some really good young players coming through, you know, the really fine players in young Murphy and young Gork as well, and young Conroy, so Con's brothers there as well. Will we see Con today? I think that could be a massive factor in this as well. He was impressive when he came in, you know, when I was away the last day. So it's a case where now, you know, Cuala have to go at this. Both teams have to go at it, but there's a realisation as well that whoever loses today could be in serious trouble.
Brigids, I guess, with Paul Winters and goalkeeper Alan Nolan returning from suspension, that was a blow to them last time out. Andrew Dunphy showing the sort of form that might perhaps merit him to put up his hand for the new Dublin senior intercounty manager, whoever that may be, to take a look at him inside Donncha Ryan, I guess, and Jonathan McGurk are go-to forwards in the scoring stakes. Absolutely, and
like Nolly was a huge loss for Brigids the last day, as with Paul Winters as well. But one thing I will say is that, you know, the sense of real, you know, what Brigids are about came to the fore as well, because missing two pivotal players, they still really went hard at that last match. It'll be a massive addition having the two boys back. McGurk is capable of getting goals, like has that pace and has that touch as well, and when he's on form, great to see Dunphy back playing wing back as well. He's a player that, you know, because of travel and for whatever other reason hasn't worn blue, like you said, in a while, and he's somebody who needs to be looked at again very closely.
On the bench, speaking to Paddy McAvenue a while ago, I mean, there won't be any Adam McGurk, he's injured, that's a loss. Dara Plunkett and Conall Burke are also unable potentially to take their places on the bench, but the big one, Cian O'Sullivan, he's not there. He's opposite us in fact in the stand watching on. What a loss he is for any club, but particularly Brigids.
Yeah, what a loss he was for Dublin this year. Like, never mind club level, he's just that burst of pace, that strength of character as well. Like, he's a really goal getter, and he's a huge loss for Brigids today. They're going to need the likes of Paul Winters and McGurk to really step up, because when Keane's not there, there's a gap, and, you know, I've no doubt that they'll physically go at this game. Will they have enough to topple Cuala? You know, we'll know in about 65-70 minutes time.
We talked a little bit of Cuala, we'll talk about them some more now, because there are two changes, late changes at that. David Ryan at cornerback drops down to the bench. Stepping up in his place is none other than Conor Groark. At corner forward, Cormac Spain is unable to take his place, and getting the nod there is Sean Moran. You've touched on some of, I suppose, the blue chip players, the better established and household players, the likes of Owen O'Callaghan, his brother Con, of course, held in reserve there today. But where do you expect the main threats to come from in this Cuala lineup, Joe?
That forward line is very different, Sean, to where it's been for the last number of years for Cuala. Like Colm Cronin has an ability at 11 to really get off the 6 and cause a lot of hassle with his pace and direct running. They'll likely drop Sean, I'd imagine, back into the half forward line. He has been a defensive player, a 6 and a sweeper for them as well, or a +1 over the number of years as well. But I think, look, Lee Murphy is a special talent. He's been away, we haven't really seen as much as I would have liked to see of him over the last kind of 12, 24 months. He really impressed me last year. You'd love to see him pushing on. I think, this place, as small as the crowd is here today, the place lights up when Con comes in, and what that man can add to the full forward line is hugely, both for Cuala and going forward as well, potentially, like you said earlier on, possibly for a Dublin manager to be looking at, because what he gives to the football is huge, but geez, what he gives to hurling as well is immense.
Well, his football CV known the length and breadth of the nation. He's 6 All-Irelands, he has All-Stars coming out his ears, 3 of them 9 Leinster Championships, but realistically he can't serve 2 masters. Is he not destined to be a footballer for the rest of his days at inter-county level? Joe, do you see a hurling future for him?
Look, he's likely destined to be. You'd love to have the conversation with him, but look, he's a great guy. I had him at under 21 level. He was available, but then couldn't because of his leaving cert. Like, really, really articulate young man. Steeped in history. The family are just steeped in history, and himself and the brother Keane. I was lucky enough to work with him. So look, let's see for down the line what Con decides to do himself.
Well, Sean Moran straight away. Thanks for that, Joe. Has motored out to centre field, and with that, the referee, that's Thomas Gleeson today, has started this round 4 clash. Conditions perfect. The mercury rising. We don't quite have the crowds that were perhaps online looking for tickets for Oasis in the early hours of this morning. It's a much more modest crowd here in North Dublin, but nonetheless, for both these clubs, the stakes every bit as high. Rampaging from defence, there is none other than Andrew Dunphy, who we name-checked in our build-up. It's tight and tense down in front of us. Players foraging for possession. Right in the middle of it is Darren McLaughlin, but he can't get the sliotar out of the ruck. Brian O'Sullivan has it, or had momentarily. It's rugby-like down in front of us as Darren McLaughlin puts the head down and charges. The referee gives him the benefit of the doubt. Pucked inside beautifully by Moran. Great ball to Kerwin. Finds his path to goal blocked. Squares it instead. Could have been a brilliant ball. He was looking for Liam Murphy, but Murphy unable to latch onto it. Great covering touch. Scrappy in the early stages, Joe.
Yeah, do you know what I love about Tom Gleeson refereeing as well? And similar, like, we're lucky in Dublin that we have, Sean, some really top class referees, and Tom will let it go now until there's something significant here, and let the teams get to know each other. That looks like a good score from Jake.
It's an excellent effort at goal. He's judged the win to perfection, and Jake Malone opens the Cuala account in the early stages of this contest. Just 1 minute and 19 seconds on the stopwatch. Malone leaning back into that and pucking beautifully between the uprights to give Cuala the lead.
Huge thing for today as well, Sean, is the 2 keepers. Nolly, one of the best keepers that Dublin have had over the last number of years, and Sean Brennan obviously now as well, in the throne of the number 1 seat. So their puck-out strategies will be really, really important today for today's game.
Kerwin trying to link up again with Murphy. Murphy was hit hard there, and the protestations are going to fall on deaf ears. It did look as if Murphy had his body perfectly positioned for that. Would you have given that?
He comes in, he again coming across like, he probably did go into the front rather than shoulder to shoulder as well, and Tom was quite close to it, so I know Jack is not too happy down there as well, because he felt it was more of a shoulder to shoulder situation.
Well, Murphy's positioning was excellent. He really left himself in such a prime position, blocking the sliotar from Ronan McLaughlin, that he was destined to win a free. Now he himself will attempt to extract maximum dividend from that particular attack, and it's the county man doubling the Cuala advantage, 2 points to no score.
Yeah, good start, really good start, and consistent with where they've wanted to drive this game on. The big thing for me is it's very open inside in there, and while Tom will allow a bit to go, you have to be conscious that you're not going to give too many silly fouls away as well.
Brian Moran has done well there under the opposition puck out.
Good
Murphy,
tackling.
yeah,
very good tackling there. Really strong by Winty there. Push the ball out to the side, and Brigids win this one.
Murphy's very busy in the early stages. In addition to winning that free and converting it, he's been involved in a lot of the open play. 3 minutes on the stopwatch. Brigids yet to score. Cuala with a 2-point advantage. Jake Malone and Liam Murphy with a free, the score getters. The talented Jonathan McGurk. Hard to judge the breeze, really. It's more crossfield than favouring either of the clubs. as McGurk sends it into the centre. Working hard there is Paul Winters, and he's managed to win a free.
Andy Power will probably be disappointed. Like, he'd done all the right thing, right, Sean? He'd stood up and, he wasn't allowed Paul Winters getting away from him. But Winters was strong there as well, and he needed that. You don't want to see Cuala going too far ahead here now. And again, it's a tough, like you said there, it's for people at home, it looks nice and sunny out there. It's not sunny up here in this in the Crow's Nest looking down at it, because that wind is blowing across the field.
He'll probably try and keep the trajectory quite low on this, like a good golfer, given the breeze that's cross field here in North Dublin this afternoon. In this round 4 Dublin Senior Championship encounter in Group 1, Paul Winters steps up. Paul Winters raises a white flag, and St Bridgets are off the mark. 1 point Brigids, 2 points for Cuala.
Yeah, good score. A tough free to start off against that wind, but again, you see Sean Brennan, how accurate he is there out to Sean Moore, and finds him straight away, and we'll look for the runner inside. There we go.
Moran is doing really well, and every time sending it down into that corner where Murphy is operating. That's sent inside, but didn't get the contact he wanted on it. Look where Jonathan McGurk is working every blade of grass here, looking for his full forward James O'Connell, who's come a long distance but can't keep it in play.
Yeah, good ball across by young McGurk, but again, like, you need to take that ball first time, Sean. You can't. He'll be disappointed with that, because it needs to go to hand first.
The fullback, Owen O'Callaghan, fine hurler in his own right. Indeed, some in Dublin hurling circles would suggest that he's worthy of a spot in the county squad. Sibling, of course, of the vastly decorated Con. Again, inside they go. The busy Kevin Kerwin looking to get onto that, but he's well outmanoeuvred by Cathal Doyle, the captain of Brigids. Great bit of harassing and hooking there.
Yeah,
Killian Shannon was the man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But Mark Kavanagh did really well there, Sean. He came out, popped the ball back, didn't just strike, and that, like, young Jack in the corner inside, like, you won't get anything very easy off him. Like, he's tough, tenacious, and just dropped the head, and definitely a fall. Good call by Tom as well. The breeze really is blowing everything down into Liam Murphy's corner, and Kevin Kerwin is wily enough to go out there and forage as well. That's a great ball inside. The target is James O'Connell. Recycles. Poor handling by Lorcan Doolan, and he knows it. Scooping it across to his wing back. That's Brian Moran. He's judged the wind really well. Great score from Brian Moran, coming as it does in the 6th minute of the contest, and it ties things up here in North Dublin. 2 points apiece. Yeah, patient as well, Sean, wasn't it? Again, like, Bridges look good so far. Like, they look really up for it, but no silly over the shoulder shooting. Waited onto the right, but that's a super puck out by Brennan there.
Does ever so well.
Just not taken right. Like, and again, he saw the man moving, and it's something that you see with him doing with Dublin quite a lot as well, with young Dara Gray, and that he looks for that runner off 5 and trying to get him on the ball on the run, so you have another kind of 10-15 yards on the run straight away.
Yeah, it was Killian Shannon who actually took his eye off it. I think he was planning where he was going to send it to, but forgot to keep it in play. The fundamentals letting him down. 2 points apiece wherever you're tuned to us on this Dubs TV stream, coming to you live from Parnell Park in the company of myself, Sean Perry, and Joe Fortune on analysis. Big news in hurling inter-county circles, of course, the appointment of Micheál Donoghue to the Galway job during the week. A vacancy in Dublin, the names perhaps of Shane O'Brien, the current under-20 manager, and Neil O'Callaghan, the Nafina manager, being linked to it. This is a good move inside and swinging wildly on it. Protest there. James O'Connell going in to try and forage something from this attack. Ball loose on the edge of the square. It's hoof clear. And Ryan Malone has taken up a good position for Cuala, but there was a moment of real danger. His keeper has made himself available, Sean Brennan. Very clever out in the right half-back position. That was really clever goalkeeping. He knew there was nothing on for Malone and gave the option, and now has lofted it way down the park, and he scored.
What a score, yeah.
What about turning defence into attack? That is a textbook example of same Joe. That was brilliant from a position of real danger. Malone showed an immense amount of calm, but for a goalkeeper to do what Sean Brennan just did, that was really special.
Yeah, it was, and it's the man in the far end of the field, Nolly, that's capable of doing the same. That's what I said. I think this game can be pivotal as well on the two keepers, because the two boys are capable of real high-end thinking like that.
Well, we have talked about a crossfield breeze, but whatever team it might favour, it does favour Cuala. It does rather favour Brigids more. But at the moment it's scrappy down there as Kevin Kerwin tried to get it onto the hurl. He failed ultimately, and Cathal Doyle, trying to burst clear, finds his path to the 45 blocked. That's Jonathan McGurk back in the thick of things. He's playing as a defender ultimately. Diarmuid O'Flynn is under it. Gives it to Power.
I think that breeze, Sean, I think it's going more Cuala's direction now. It's changing.
I beg your pardon, it is
Yeah, yeah.
Cuala. It is favouring Cuala, as was evident from Brennan's last strike.
Yeah,
He got
Brennan's
an extra
strike, yeah.
10, 15 metres on it.
And I'd say
You're
that's why
quite right.
Mikey. I'd say that's why Mikey has brought young McGurk back into that position as well. Like Johnny's a very good distributor of the ball, but you can't be beating balls down there on top of metre. And I think Cuala need to realise that the ball needs to be more angled and it needs to go at that more lateral run than just straight down the middle.
Correct. As James O'Connell tries to do something special here. Of course, Brigids managed by Paddy McAvenue. He's a guard stationed in Dublin Castle. In the backroom team, he is indeed at Fitzgibbon level. Himself and Mick Carton manage what was formerly known as Dublin DIT,
that's right, yes,
Dublin
TUD now.
TUD. Joe, you were in charge there back in the day and got it Fitzgibbon. They're playing Ryan Cup, as I understand it now, aren't they?
Yeah, I was there in probably 13 or 14 and, really competitive. Had some great players at that stage as well. McMurrow and Rush and Liam McGovern and just it's dropped for them in the last couple of years where they're competing at Ryan Cup now, but they had some really good days in around kind of 12, 13, 14 with some significant results against the likes of UL and stuff, so hopefully the two boys can push them back up another level again.
And restore the glory days. Here's Sean Brennan, and the keeper with a chance to double his own personal tally after just 10 minutes. He's just inside his own 65. He's caught it with great aplomb, but he hasn't the accuracy. He's missed the target. Cuala still lead, however, 3 points to 2.
Yeah, it's something that kind of, to me sometimes as well, Sean, like you take the keeper out, like he's a great strike of a ball, but are you not better there looking at your free taker, with the wind behind your back, who can be a little bit more efficient possibly at times than a goalkeeper? But a good strike from Sean.
Distance wasn't going to be an issue, but this is a good counter-attack now with Andrew Dunphy driving Brigids forward. Ronan McLaughlin in the thick of it now. He's been working hard in the early stages as well. The Brigids backs, in spite of having the breeze in their face, are using every opportunity to get up the park. Good turnover by Jamie Conroy, the Dublin under-20 player, and his keeper is the out ball again, Brennan. Good clash in the middle. It's very well done by Donncha Ryan. But Jack Toomey is the player who gets on the end of it for Cuala, and he has raised a white flag. It's a lovely score from Jack Toomey. Brother Dara is on the bench this afternoon, and Cuala now by double scores, 4 points to 2.
Yeah, good score by Jack off his right, on the move again. What you have to like about that willingness of your forward to win their own kind of dirty ball. It's quite a physical it doesn't look it. The standard is not overly high here, but at the same time it's physical. There's a lot of hitting off the ball. That's a poor wide again from Brigids.
Yeah, it was Kieran O'Sullivan. It was like an arrow. The ball into him was perfect. He'd done everything right. He got out in front of his man, won his own ball, and well, maybe there was a second or two more that ought to have been taken there. That one's gone through the hands, and Cuala fortunate to have bodies providing support. One of those is Conor Groark.
It's a poor ball, Sean, right on top of this extra man.
Yeah, and for a county underage panellist, he will be, at the risk of stating the obvious, absolutely kicking himself that one went so awry. And Cuala again with players out on the wing. Pucking into the church end here in Parnell Park and raising a white flag to further stretch out the Cuala advantage. 5 points to 2.
Yeah, good score, and what Brigids don't want to happen here, you've just mentioned it a few minutes ago, Sean, you don't want Cuala going 4 or 5 points ahead, because despite the wind, the heads can drop somewhat as well, and like you'd see Nolly there as well, he's talking to the players all the time, he's driving that defensive unit on, so they just need the forwards to win their own ball here now and actually put a simple score over the bar.
Colm Cronin, of course, the scorer moments ago. He's wearing 17. That's a very heavy hit. Ryan Malone, the aggressor. He certainly brought Jack O'Neill thundering to the ground. Two sides, as we pointed out, without a win to show in the current campaign. And Joe making the point that, well, confidence low, and any side to get a foothold here today and begin to stretch out into the lead, heads can drop very quickly. At the moment, Cuala by 3 points, 5 points to Brigids 2 after 13 minutes of play, but crucially, the breeze, I guess, favouring Cuala. We've established that it was blowing crossfield. It's turned a little bit. And here's a chance now for Paul Winters, who's already converted one free this afternoon. Brian Moran, the other Brigids point scorer. This is an important one.
Great score.
He's caught it really well, hasn't he? Very sweet indeed from Paul Winters. He's a major asset.
Paul had a great career underage, with minor and under 21 with Dublin as well. Like a really good free taker, really efficient in his frees, and he's just, they're important scores because you're not really getting much out of your inside line, and when you get a free there, it has to go over.
Absolutely. Well, if they're missed, ultimately they've got one from play, and as we pointed out, that came from Moore, and it was a tasty effort. Moments ago, Kieran O'Sullivan missing, but Winters is 2 from 2 from frees, and that in itself keeps the gap tight. Just 2 separate the sides. Scrappy out on the far side, but Diarmuid O'Flynn has got possession of the sliotar. Does well. Full back Owen O'Callaghan decides to send one inside. The target is Kevin Kerwin. He can't keep it in play. Pitch playing really well. I know we've had a very strange summer weather-wise, Joe. Lots and lots of rain. I suppose that's helped grass growth, but today it's like a snooker table out there.
Yeah, but look, every day we come in here, despite no matter what weather you have, Sean, the likes of Nolan that work on the pitch in here, it's exemplary. They keep it in such, and it's always available as well for the county teams to be training in, and they keep it in such great nick when it's really needed towards the latter stage. It's a bit worrying now for Cuala, because if you see Sean Moran's down holding his knee, Sean's been really unlucky over the last while with a couple of silly injuries as well, so hopefully it's nothing significant for him.
He's made it tough stuff. The Cuala man, the man who's playing out around the middle of the park this afternoon. Typically he's, I suppose, more comfortable in attack than in the centre of the park, Joe. Yeah,
it was brilliant for Cuala as a halfback and defender, but Cuala have won All-Ireland club title. To thank him for that free hit towards the end. Like he's made a steal as well, so he'll keep going.
Good Brigids attack, it's incisive, it's lashed goalward, and it has gone between the sticks, and that time Donnacha Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, was the player who made the dashing run, didn't need any help and blasted over from close range. Had he got another yard or two, there was a goal on his mind, I perhaps suggest.
Yeah, and look at you can see the physical. They're well up for the physical side of this, and Brigids, when they get the ball in, when it sticks, are dangerous. Again, they'll look at the likes of, I think, Johnny going back in at some stage, because to have that goal threat without Keane, who's a massive loss for them, they're going to need a goal or two today, I think, as well.
Groark played a great ball down, it just didn't stick, and there's a little tussle there involving Kevin Kerwin. He's having a right good battle with, I think it's Cathal Doyle.
Yeah, the two boys. Look, it's there was nothing in that, like just a little bit of kind of camaraderie or whatever you want to call it. There's nothing there, like, so Tom.
Frustration from Kerwin that his touch let him down, I'd say. Maybe. He decided to take it out. I think it was on Doyle, but referee ultimately satisfied that it's a game that's being played in the main in a very sporting vein. Cuala with just a 1 point lead as we move into the 16th minute, beyond the quarter mark of this contest, coming out to take the cut in front of us.
I see Jake Malone wearing quite heavy strapping on his knee, Sean, over there on the far side. Haven't really seen much of Jake apart from that opening score, so you'd wonder, is he carrying something there, because he's a pivotal player for Cuala.
He started very well, as did this man, Killian Shannon, drilling it inside, but the quality of the distribution from out the park from Cuala has left a little bit to be desired here. Well, Donnacha Ryan lined up, or not Donnacha Ryan, but Jack Toomey rather lined up a big hit there, but it didn't come off. And there's a ruck in the middle. Referee tends to let these run their course. Brian Moran couldn't get the sliotar up. Jack Toomey might. Lovely ball to Conroy. Conroy from the 65-metre line has pulled that some distance to the right and wide.
Yeah, it's a poor shot selection, and one thing that Cuala will have to look at half time is the distribution of ball in. It's poor standard, like it's not what you're used to giving them, that lateral ball. Again, just hitting the ball on top of the spare man, it's not efficient enough at the minute.
Ryan Malone looked to have done everything right, but Donnacha Ryan was every bit as clever in terms of outmanoeuvring him, and the referee has indicated a free to Cuala.
Yeah, Ryan Malone is having a fair battle there. I like him, Jake's brother, on the wing, a young guy coming through as well. Would have played underage for Dublin at times as well, involved with, I think, with TUD. But he's made it like the brother. He's made a steal as well, and he's impressed at the start of this game so far.
Let's see what his sideline cut is like. We put the commentator's curse in him because he never got hold of that at all, but it's worked out nicely for him. Jamie Conroy, and he's just done a hamstring, it would appear. He stopped very abruptly, and it looks as if Jamie Conroy's afternoon might well be over. More of that anon, but it's gone inside where James O'Connell is trying to make himself busy. Recycles to McLaughlin. Oh, great cover work there.
Big hit.
Rourke, and the referee giving the free to Brigids. Few sore bodies after that last passage of play, not least poor old Jamie Conroy, who looks as if his race could be run.
I wonder will we see Con just to see when the hand goes to the back of the leg. Sean, as you said himself, I think the man himself now is warming up on the far side. But
he is.
But again, that big hit going in there, this is a big chance again now for Paul Winters. But this fella now, when he comes in, just adds excitement everywhere he goes. Even in the charity match that was done for such great causes for cancer, he just epitomises what you want out of an inside forward man. As good as he is at football, he just has such a talent for getting into the right place at hurling as well, and well able to finish. So,
box office, no doubt. The brilliant Con O'Callaghan makes his entry in the 19th minute of this round 4 contest in the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. The unfortunate Jamie Conroy has made way. Con O'Callaghan has come in. Paul Winters with the free, which has resulted for Brigids, has sent it out and wide, and that's a blow for Brigids, because with just a point separating the sides, albeit Cuala playing with a slight wind advantage at the moment, it's ebbing and flowing. Again, the target is Groark. Brigids content to allow him most of those puck outs. He goes towards Kerwin. That's better handling from Kerwin, and that results in a point. A really nice point. Brian O'Sullivan could do nothing there as Kerwin stroked over his first of the contest and Cuala's 6th.
Yeah, simple game, Sean. A great puck out by Brennan out to the wing. The ball was carried well. Ball put in at an angle. You win your own ball inside, and a simple score.
Well, now it's Brian O'Sullivan's turn to pick up Kerwin as Cathal Doyle has moved on to duties elsewhere. Murphy's the target. Outmanoeuvred in the air. Great defensive work by O'Sullivan and Jack O'Neill. McGurk. Long one inside. Cuala have an extra body back there, and although they didn't need it, because that was a wonderful fetch by the full back, Owen O'Callaghan. His brother Con's looking for it down the park. Kerwin, well, he would have needed a ladder to get to that one. It was tricky in the extreme. Coming across once more is McGurk. He's bundled over, and the referee indicating hand on the back. I don't think...
Yeah, Johnny was smart there, Sean. He just went down, got the body low, and the player coming in from the side is always going to be, you're going to hit the ground if you're young McGurk there. So that was smart, good defending.
And with the greatest respect to the referee, he's no chance from his vantage point of deeming whether a push in the back actually occurred or not. The oldest trick in the book, and it was beautifully done, as Joe pointed out, by Jonathan McGurk. Here's Alan Nolan. Oh my word, what has he done? He's given it to Con O'Callaghan, and Con has put it over the bar! Well, do not adjust your sets, because that is quite incredible. I don't know what Alan Nolan was thinking. He played it straight to Con O'Callaghan, who I don't think could believe he'd actually been given the sliotar on the 20-metre line, open goal in front of him, and he's put it over the bar. Well, that is an incredible passage of play, and Con O'Callaghan will never miss a score like it again in his career.
I don't take any semblance of what I've said earlier on about Con, how brilliant he is, but it's nearly a question of sporting now for years to come about what happened next, because that was just nearly, you could call it a calamity of errors. I'm sure Nolly's delighted now that the ball went over the bar, but not like him either. Maybe the jersey, I don't know, there's a difference in those jerseys there today as well. Obviously both clubs wear red, so I'll give Nolly the benefit of the doubt on this one.
I wonder, did Con think he was still warming up? At any rate, Cuala have tagged on another, and it's Jake Malone doubling his own personal tally, and Cuala's score tally now is double that of Brigids, 8 points to 4, and people still scratching their heads wondering what happened. Con O'Callaghan, he did get a point, I guess, if we're to look at it as glass half full.
Come on,
Joe.
Carl, show us that again there, will you, now in a few minutes, to show the people at home. It's just, he tried to go across, and it's an incredible one.
He was on the 13-metre line, actually. He got the ball between the 20-metre line and the 13-metre line. Keeper was at the corner flag, virtue of the free that Jonathan McGurk had just won, which we discussed at length. But that is a talking point. Will it be the defining moment of this game? I'm sure that John McCarthy, the Glen Rovers club man, of course the home of Hoggy and the Downey brothers, in his second year of charge at Cuala, I don't think he'll hold it against O'Callaghan. He'll probably redeem himself somewhere along the line later this season, as that one is sent goalward by Kerwin. He's in the groove at the moment. That's a second for the big full forward. Powerful unit. And Cuala 9 now to Brigids 4.
Yeah, and it just happened so quickly there as well, Sean. And you feel for young Conroy looking down here now as well, with the condensed season now too, and the way weeks work. Like, his year could be over now, going off with a hamstring injury. But Cuala starting to motor here now.
There's a man taking his chance very well, Sean Moore, and he's sent it in the direction of Liam Murphy, I think, who applied the finishing touch there. Murphy going well now. He converted a free earlier, and that gives him A second point of the afternoon, but from a position where it was 5 points to 4, things have turned dramatically now in favour of the erstwhile aristocrats. Cuala, they lead by 6, 10 points to 4.
A super take in the year, but just a poor distribution afterwards. But Cuala are starting to motor. Brigids need a score here now, but a leadership as well, and they look to the likes of Winty and that to get on the ball here.
Donnacha Ryan had the Schlitter at his mercy there. He fumbled it and they've been turned over and conceded a free. Disastrous few moments there for Paddy McAvenue's side.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I thought that Donny had his momentum going with him there now as well. The Cuala guys stood up to him, but Thomas just deemed it to be just hitting the shoulder kind of forward or frontal challenge. But I thought Donny was away there now, and he would have a bit of grass in front of him as well.
Keeper coming out again, Sean Brennan. One to his credit, it was from open play. He missed a free, and he's going from way out the park. He's going to be closer to his own 45 than 65, wearing number 30. There'll be a hunt on in Dalkey for the number 1 jersey because it's obviously gone missing. John McCarthy and his management team, I'm sure, won't press charges against anyone who might return it in the near future, as Brennan lets fly from a way out the park. He's fluffed his lines and it's a second missed free, and maybe bears out the point you were making about letting an outfield player have a punt from that sort of range.
Yeah, but look, again, in hindsight it's easy to say that, but like Sean will be disappointed with that strike. He's well capable of doing it and just a little bit off. You'd love to see Murphy getting involved in the game a little bit more, and maybe a couple of those frees, because he's an emerging talent and well capable of hitting them from there as well.
Conor Groark did really well. The other man, Sean Moore, and the two of them wearing 21 and 22, but what an impact they've had. That's a wonderful bit of work from O'Flynn. He's going to get his own score, the centre back, and he was extremely nippy to get in, rob that particular Schlitter and advance the 30 to 40 yards at pace, fire over his own score. Really good work from the centre half back.
Yeah, there's your score today, Sean. Again, working at the ball at pace, really getting down, really strong on the ball and driving the ball over the bar. Like we've said it a couple of times now. We've gone out to 11-4. It's a 7-point lead. It is a big enough wind. Good. Cuala's tackling is impressive today. Like they're capable of more. I think they're going to get, if they get further in the championship, they'll push on. This fella has a bag of talent. If he can get a score here now, it'll be important. But he's hooked again. A good tackle by Cuala.
And I think it was Killian Shannon coming in there and working really hard. He's a small midfielder in stature, but he covers a lot of ground. Willing and able now as Brigids desperately look for a foothold. Brian Moran inside to Kieran O'Sullivan, who's being really closely watched. His last effort went to the left. This one is off the bar, would you believe? Sean Brennan happy to get it under control and flick it out to Toomey. Great ball from Toomey. Wonderful work by Murphy. Broke favourably. Con turns and off the right side.
Wrists, Sean, wrists. Look at Murphy's wrist there. Real snappy ball to hand. Con bang over the bar. Like they're capable. Young Murphy has a bucket of talent. If you'd want to see him on the field more. I know he's been away a bit, but he's well capable of performing at a higher level.
Well, on the Brigids side, Diarmuid Breslin and Owen Lean have returned from their travels quite recently, and Paddy McAvenue was hopeful of casting them into the action at some point. He probably needs a change very soon indeed. Obviously 3.5 minutes of normal time remaining in this first half, but with 8 points between the sides now at 12-4, it's becoming a little bit desperate for the Blanchardstown outfit.
And they'd be disappointed because they've had chances. They've had a goal chances at one stage. They've a couple of, Winty missed one free, but they've a couple of poor wides, and they'll be really disappointed at half time if it goes in at this level of a difference in both.
Toomey battling really hard for it down there, but Andrew Dunphy has done well for Brigids. Mark Kavanagh sends it down, but again the Cuala defenders out in front, and Darren McLaughlin caught there by Conor Groark. Groark hasn't managed to clear his lines, alas. O'Flynn, scorer of that point moments ago, preceding Con O'Callaghan's majestic effort.
That's a big win there, Sean. It's a really big win because McLaughlin came out there, harrying, harassing. You're wanting the Cuala guy to overstep the mark, and they need a score on the board now. Like I said a few minutes ago, look, there's a lot of pride and passion in those Brigids lads, and they don't want the heads to drop. So this is a big free for Winty now to try and nail this one. But there is, for those people at home, despite it looking really nice, there is a considerable breeze there, and it seems to be favouring Cuala.
With 2 from 2, he'd back himself, I've no doubt, as would Paddy McAvenue. He is the designated free taker now, number 12, Paul Winters. Brigids with just 4 scores to show from 28 minutes of endeavour. That's good from Winters. It's just inside the far upright. If you're to miss, you're always supposed to miss at the far post, according to all good free takers. But Paul Winters stepping up and puts, I suppose, gives a glimmer of hope at the break, because it was, and maybe it still is, getting away from Brigids. Groark. Beautiful feet. Has he a shot to match? The answer would appear to be yes.
This guy has it, Sean. Yeah, he's good. He's a good kid. You can see he has the athleticism. He's obviously been away a bit as well. You can see the tan lines as well. But he's a good kid, and he had a good career. He had a good innings this year as well. But he just has that sense of pace and wanting to get forward all the time, and well able to defend.
Coming, it could be a long afternoon for Brigids if they don't hit the net very soon, as Sean Moran takes the slither for Cuala. His midfielder willing to help there, Jake Malone. The shot coming in from Con O'Callaghan.
No, to the left.
A distance to the left indeed. He was off his weaker side. As we move into the last minute of normal time at the end of this first half, coming live to you on Dubs TV. Skirmish off the ball there involving it's Andy Power and Paul Winters. They get up and get on with it.
They're winning all that breaking ball. Just Brigids, unlike them, just not getting near that breaking ball on the ground, and McCartan won't be happy with that.
I think that was Jake Malone with an effort from, in basketball parlance, downtown. A really good effort from Malone, and it's his 3rd of the afternoon. And Cuala, they're very comfortable looking at the moment. You made the point, their accuracy is better, their hunger in the tackle is better, and their backs marking really, really well. As Dunphy sets off for Brigids, poking it goalward, and he would appear to have raised a white flag once more.
Yeah, good score off his right.
Call him, yeah,
good score off his right there, and again he's capable of that too. Like he's tracking a lot there, because 10 tends to drop back onto 5 and 7 an awful lot now, but in towards Con again.
He tried to take that at chest height. It hopped out of the palm of his hand and broke favourably for Brigids. Jonathan McGurk. Well, we're likely to see him, I guess, at the other end. He's going to stay. He's going to move from defence to attack. You would have to expect, if Brigids are to have any chance of taking anything out of this match. Joe?
Yeah, Johnny, look, he's obviously the son of Johnny McGurk, who's involved with Brigids for so many years too, and still you can see by the sponsorship side of stuff as well that the lads were wearing, that he's still obviously hugely involved in the club. I think you need him closer to goal, but I can understand why they've done it in the first half, because there is quite a breeze. Con, lucky probably there as well, because quite a high challenge, but he'll be fine now. And again, they just need to get a couple. They're just giving up a small bit there on ball on the ground, rather than they're usually ravenous. And you'd wonder, like you said at the start, Sean, is the case of the last couple of weeks, is it starting, like Nolly and them will talk to him at half time. Like, there's nothing to lose here now, you have to go at it, but
absolutely,
it's poor fare at times here as well. Like,
there's no point in accepting defeat without dying with your boots on, so to speak, so they might as well go for broke in the second half, as that one was taken by Diarmuid O'Flynn. The referee sounds the half-time whistle, and Cuala with a very strong advantage at the break, albeit they have played the 31 minutes 15 seconds with the aid of the breeze, but at half-time it's Cuala by 14 points to St Bridgets 6.
Staycity Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Staycity because Staycity is the smart choice. Staycity, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go-Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship and initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the Championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing Club Championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go-Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up, and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Howth village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be to try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane, beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killarney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family, it's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devitt is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill, people are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring a raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
We met down at Fairview, and Kieran's brother was a friend of my brother's. We met through them, so when I was coming up to the Debs, I invited Kieran to my Debs. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, so long as our firstborn child played for Vincent's. And he said, okay, grand. It's great to have our family involved as well. I suppose if the kids weren't as interested in it as we were, it'd be very tough on us.
Kieran's are playing Vincent's. The tension in the house is gas. Mum is obviously Vincent's and Dad is Kieran, so Mum always claims that she'll give John steak for dinner and she won't feed Kevin. But it's always a bit of a laugh, but I suppose no one takes it too seriously.
She had her hands full. She could have got the job as a bus driver. The amount of dropping off and picking up she did from matches around. Leaving some matches early to go to another match to make sure she got the end of that, or make sure we all got the same amount of attention. There was no favourites.
It means everything. I don't know what we do without it, to be fair. We eat, drink and sleep it.
It's always through the family, like the rest of us. There's not enough supporting words, I'd say.
I know my whole life at this rate.
We're very proud parents. That's a huge achievement to have 100% of your family still playing. We're proud of them all, every one of them.
My name is Niamh Heatherton.
My name is John Heatherton. I'm Kieran Heatherton.
I'm Patsy Heatherton, and as a family,
our roots are set in the GAA.
Ground Force probably is the absolute heart of this club, both in their ethos, the amount of work they do, and just the pure love they have for Naomh Marnoga and the GAA in general. In simplest terms, we probably couldn't function without Ground Force.
I suppose the GAA was always a bit more than hitting the ball or hitting a schlitter, you know, and it gave a great sense of community to people.
I suppose at my age, fear of retirement, worried about the unknown, what am I going into a home under my wife's feet all the time or something like that, and then we just got this men's initiative started off. We feel that we're giving something back to the club that gave so much to us. We come up here on a rotary basis and line pitches, cut grass. It kind of empowers us as well if we feel valued.
We're all friends, we're all retired, we're all around the same age group. Some of us have nothing outside of our work, and Ground Force has been a big change for everybody from the mental well-being point of view. It's really, really important and really significant, and there is great camaraderie amongst the group.
So I think there's about 30 odd men in this initiative that comes up to the club and has a chat. And the coffee is important as well. We sort out the world, Dad.
Yeah. Or well, most of it.
Yeah.
That's what it means to me, just achievement and pride.
My first memory of GAA would probably have been in Croke Park with my father. That would be in the early 1950s.
As a young lad, brought down to watch one of my brother's matches.
Playing under 10 hurling, and I say hurling, not camogie, because I played on the boys' team.
My feeling about the GAA was more a social one than a games one, because I thought it was a great way for all the kids to get to know each other.
Mum and Dad always brought us up to have each other's backs. We'd all go to each other's matches. No matter what we were doing or playing, we'd all support each other. I'm playing for the club 37 years, I think, now, but I also coached my two daughters' teams.
It's great. It really is a great feeling to have the kids down there. And now all of their friends are beginning to come from the same community and the same focus on the club, so it's a mirror of what happened to me in my childhood, I suppose.
We made more friends down the years and had more fun down the years than ever we would anywhere else.
Mum fostered that through us as well. She was chief bottle washer. She'd have jerseys upon jerseys out in the line. 3 of my offspring are married, and they met their better halves through the club.
The friends and relationships I got out of it. Looking back, that was really what the GAA was about. Community, about building relationships with people. My name is Mick Galvin.
My name is Mary Galvin.
My name is Phil Galvin, and my family roots are in St Bridgets GAA Club.
Brigids taking a little bit longer in the changing room at the interval. You're welcome back to Parnell Park for the second half of this round 4 Group 1 Dublin Senior Hurling Championship encounter between Cuala and St Bridgets. Cuala, for those of you joining us late, in control at the break, leading by 14 points to St Bridgets 6. A few strong words exchanged down in the Brigids changing room at the break, but crucially, there's no Cian O'Sullivan, there's no Dara Plunkett, there's no Conall Burke, and indeed there's no Adam McGurk to introduce from the bench. They've been dealt a pretty rotten hand, and indeed, speaking to Paddy McAvenue just before this game started, he made the point that in their second round game they were down to just 17 fit players to pick from, so they've been dealt, I suppose, a pretty rotten hand in terms of players being on holiday, players injured, and indeed players suspended. But I suppose a lot of that is of their own making, or some of it is of their own making, Joe.
A proud club, like a really proud club, and like I said at the start, about maybe 5-6 years ago, we're contesting county finals, and when you take 1 or 2 players or 3 players out of that based on suspension or lads going away, they've had a couple of lads travelling for the last while too, and momentum as well. Like they've had a tough year so far. It's not for the work that's going in there. A big free here for Paul Winters now. I would imagine there was ultimate honesty in the dressing room at half time. Their first half showing wasn't good enough, 6 minutes in Championship hurling, but an opportunity and chance here for Winty to put them on the board. But look, I've no doubt that they'll give all they have. Whether is that enough for to come up against Cuala today, at the moment they're finding it tough.
He scored 3 of his first half frees. This one isn't going to make it. It's gone out, I suggest, for a 65. But Paul Winters responsible for 50% of the Brigids tally. The other points coming from Brian Moran, Donnacha Ryan and Andrew Dunphy. Winters will probably take this 65 himself. The scoring spread for Cuala has been altogether different and easier to, I suppose, look at and digest from a manager's perspective. But Jake Malone, interestingly, at centre field has been their top scorer with 3 points. Con O'Callaghan coming in as he did midway through that half for the unfortunate Jamie Conroy, helping himself to 2, and now Paul Winters with a chance from this 65 in the sunshine in North Dublin. Don't be fooled though, there is a breeze at pitch level and it favours Brigids in the second half as Winters gets ready. Let's fly. Has he got the accuracy on that? The answer is yes. It's a 7th for St Bridgets and a badly needed boost for their confidence, and if they're to aspire to take anything from this game.
Oh, look, there were aspirations. Like I have no doubt that they believed that they're good enough to compete here, but they just had the first half. They had a goal chance, didn't take it. A couple of poor wides, just poor shot selections. But look, there's loads of spirit in the lads that are down there. What's standing out to me from the stat you're out, Sean, is it's the same guys that are. There's nobody really stood up today different, apart from the 2 lads who've played county along with Winty as well. Taking scores, and they're going to need that.
Huge effort from out the park, sent in with gusto, and it's the 15th point of the afternoon for the Cuala men, and coming as it did from midfielder, I think. We'll have confirmation of that in just a moment, but a really good piece of work from the Dalkey club. It was in fact wing half back Ryan Malone who scored there as full forward. James O'Connell charges forward for the Blanchardstown men. Perhaps a goal chance for O'Connell, but he's taken a little bit too much out of it. Sends it back to Ryan. Donnacha Ryan pokes it from the angle and sends it over the bar for a second point for himself. But moments earlier there was perhaps a goal chance for James O'Connell. Just, I suppose, when you take that second too long, the chance disappears very quickly.
Yeah, not really enough grass to go into as well, Sean. Like he didn't really. It was important that Brigids got another score. They would have said in the dressing room at half to, you have 30 minutes now, nearly to save your season a bit, because if you don't win today, you're in a position for the last game where you're going to be seriously under pressure.
Absolutely, Con O'Callaghan working ever so hard back there. He's done well. O'Callaghan's jersey is pulled. He's brought to the ground, and the referee going to have to take a decision here, because O'Callaghan showed that, I suppose, when you're training at the level he is, and he has the natural pace which you can't instill or inject into any young man.
He's always had it, Sean. He's had no matter what training he's doing with Desi or anybody else, that man, since he's underage, 15, 16, has had that unbelievable sense of knowing where the goal is, and he showed that in the 2 All-Irelands that Cuala won as a club. And he's obviously just coming back into the whole hurling thing after having a long year, just holding the left leg a small bit, so hopefully there's nothing from that challenge.
Liam Murphy's fired the resulting free right between the sticks, as he was always destined to do from that closer range. Yellow card flashed to the Brigids defender. I think it was Cal Doyle who took a grip with both hands of O'Callaghan's jersey, and there was no way he was getting through unless the jersey was literally torn from his back. But Con O'Callaghan having the wherewithal to nip in and do the most exciting of things. Oh, that could have been a great catch from Kerwin. It's eluded him though. He's got it at the second attempt. He's done well, the full forward, coming in off the left side this time, and he's missed.
Yeah, and you can see Con and Young Murphy trying to come out there, create a bit of space for him to run into. Maybe the shot wasn't the right choice at that stage. He might have had a little bit more grass to run into for that chance.
Huge puck out. Looking for Winters. He's done well to keep that in play. Linesman indicating that he did well to keep it in, but he didn't do so well on the shot. It's a distance off, and well, whether it got caught in the breeze or not, I don't know, but somebody of Paul Winters' experience would have expected a better outcome from that chance.
Yeah, and you can see, I think it was Young that Murphy was just disappointed with the whole. Like when you shoot from out there, Sean, like you have to. It's a really. I think it's poor shot selection from Paul there. He's well capable of taking that ball on. That's a free now to Cuala. And that's the difference. Like, just those little small things are just not going for Brigids today. Every time they get a small bit ahead of steam, there's a decision or a poor decision or a foul or something, and they're just not getting a chance to get any sort of kind of stagnation in getting back towards the result again.
Double scores at the moment. The second half, but 6 minutes old, and Cuala showing their superiority here over a Brigids side really struggling in the current campaign without a win. They've had a pretty torrid experience so far, losing to champions Nafina on match day 1. Then they lost to Lucan Sarsfields that day when they were down to the bare bones of just 17 as that chance is spurned. And
one thing going forward, I think, for both teams here, if they're to get to the latter ends of the championship, the free taking today has been off from both teams, and I think to win a county title, you really have to get to the significant end of the county title. You really have to be more efficient with your free taking, and I think Cuala will be disappointed with that today, as will Paul has missed a couple too that are not like him.
Well, there's room for improvement in the Cuala ranks, but for Brigids it's certainly been a difficult afternoon thus far. But could that be the catalyst for better things to come, as James O'Connell fires goalward, doing really well from out on the wing? The point being made by Paddy McAvenue, their manager, before throwing, that it's possibly the strongest squad he's had all year in terms of returning players and the like. But well, when you look at Cuala's path to this game, losing to Kilmacud and indeed Nafina, the draw with Lucan Sarsfields, Con O'Callaghan sprung from the bench and scoring goals, but at the moment things really going to script for the double All-Ireland winning club champions back in 17 and 18. Bagged 4 Leinsters in a golden era, as well as their full back. Owen O'Callaghan marches from defence, sending it down to brother Con. For once he's taken his eye off the Schlitter and it's eluded him.
In fairness to Jack, he's done well on him. Jack was put straight onto him when Con came on, and Con's not an easy man to mark, and apart from maybe 1 or 2 situations, Jack has got out in front and won ball too, so that's credit to you there.
Indeed. Big hit there from full forward James O'Connell, but he can't win the sliotar for Brigids, as Con off the right and pokes that goalward. On that occasion Andrew Dunphy had to come across because he'd lost Jack, but Con O'Callaghan with his 3rd of the afternoon, and Cuala in a very, very comfortable place at the moment. They could perhaps go for the jugular very soon and aim to kill this off and win it by perhaps double figures, as it were, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a big hit. I just think with Con there, his balance, his sense of, he doesn't even have to take the steps. As a defender, he's a nightmare because he looks you in the eye, and his balance and sense of movement afterwards is exemplary. But look, I don't see Brigids giving up here, no matter what the scoreline goes down to. It is going to be hard. They're going to need a goal, and I think a goal soon. And to beat Sean Brennan, it's going to need a serious effort. It's a tough free now for Winty as well. While it's close proximity wise, it's out in the wing. It's
Breeze is on his back though,
yeah,
and it possibly is coming in from that side as well. He's converted 3 frees and a 65. He's certainly got a huge amount of power on that. He hasn't got the accuracy. We don't have Hawkeye. He hasn't protested either, so he was off the target from the get-go.
It's a huge one. It's a huge one there because you're close in, but it's just such an angle, and Sean was smart enough in the goal as well to try and get into the umpire's ear before he had a chance himself to work out what it was.
Yes, indeed. Wily stuff from the keeper, as that one is sent in with huge height. The umpires have a quick look, and it looks as if it's found the mark. Jack Toomey applying the finishing touch there for a 2nd of the afternoon. He's putting in an effective shift at wing half forward. Here's his wing half back, Andy Power. Loves the physical stuff. He's been involved in anything that's edgy or requiring a big hit to be put in. Power's always there this afternoon. James O'Connell trying to get the sliotar back quickly. 9 points separating the sides, double scores, 10 minutes into this second half. James O'Connell knowing something has to happen quickly for Brigids. very flat this afternoon. You can attribute that, I suppose, to a Cuala press and very effective hurling by their opponents, but also Brigids' low on confidence in a championship campaign, which, as we've pointed out, has been particularly tricky. Kerwin inside, looking for Murphy. Lovely feet, went the outside, came back on the inside and left-sided, fires it between the posts for his 4th of the afternoon. 2 from open play, 2 from frees, and the county man showing his quality there. Very hard to mark that.
Yeah, I've said it a number of times, even with Oisin here when he's working as well, Sean. Like, I really like young Murphy. I think he's a bit to do physically wise yet, but he has all the touch, and you know, when he's on form, he, like you said, he's a very tough player to mark.
Groark mopping up again for Cuala. Again, Kerwin and Murphy inside, but this one's wayward. And Cal Doyle sends it forward. Interesting that with the breeze on their backs, Brigids are still opting for 40 and 50 metre clearances instead of trying to loft it way down to the other end of the park, and it's punishing them because the quality of their distribution isn't good enough.
Oh, what a ball by Con.
What a ball. And a chance of a goal. It is sent to the net by Liam Murphy. Killian Shannon had done ever so well, but it was the ball from Con O'Callaghan to tear the cover apart, sending it into the centre where Shannon was available. He went into the tackle, but ultimately had the wherewithal to give it off to Murphy, who poked it under the keeper, and poor old Alan Nolan could do little about that. It's the first goal of the contest, coming as it does 11 minutes into the second half, and Cuala build on it very, very quickly indeed with another score from Liam Murphy. He's got 1-1 in less than 30 seconds, and I suppose with that dies any hopes of a Brigids resurgence.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's a special young talent. I think it needs to be nurtured. I think he needs to be minded and brought along properly. He has that sense of where to be, but what a ball by Con. The vision. Now, in fairness, it had to be taken as well. There's another one again, like
his 4th point.
You know, you'd be mad. You asked me a question earlier on, like, should he be masked or will he ever leave? Like, you'd be mad not to have that conversation, because what a talent he has when he has a small ball in his hand.
Well, it, I suppose, begs the question, you know, where Cuala's form has been all season, losing to Kilmacud and Nafina. They'd be scratching their heads, I guess, and wondering, you know, had they replicated perhaps or been able to produce the sort of form they had here today, would they find themselves at the foot of the table, albeit a rung above St Bridgets?
I think it's a tough. I think losing to Nafina or Kilmacud, like, they're the county finalists from the last, you know, for the last 3 years, I think, maybe 4. So I don't think there's anything disparaging or poor about that. I think Cuala are building again. I think they've lost a lot of players. I think it's 8 or 9, maybe more, since from that All-Ireland winning team. So look, there's talent there, but Murphy's well able to mix it, I think, now at this level, and you know, hopefully he'll push on not only for Cuala but with Dublin in the next couple of years as well. What's been standing out to me, Sean, from a hurling, from a manager's point of view, is the amount of time Cuala keeps shouting space, not to be driving ball in on top of a spare man, which Brigids have played, and to look to put the ball in space, because O'Callaghan and Murphy have the pace to get into those areas.
Well, with 15 points separating the sides and 17 minutes to run of normal time, it could be a long 17 minutes for Paddy McAvenue and his backroom team of Mick Carton, Brian Smith and Shane Mohan. Not going according to script at all for the Blanchardstown men, who also, of course, draw out of Castleknock. Replacement being made there, Brian O'Sullivan being called ashore. He had the tricky task of trying to keep pace with Kevin Kerwin when Kerwin bagged a beauty in the first half. Risk being taken there at the back with the sideline cut. Cuala just a little bit fleeter of foot. And again, the keeper, Sean Brennan, able to give them that option. He scored a worldie in the first half when coming from goal to make himself available for Ryan Malone. And Cuala now, this is all the air of training ground drills. With the greatest of respect to their opponents, Colm Cronin from way out the park. He scored a beauty from long range in the first, and he's just doubled his own personal tally and helped himself to Cuala's 22nd of the afternoon, 122 now to 9 points.
Yeah, and again, we haven't seen much of Cronin. You know, he would have played with Dublin underage and at senior as well for Dalo at the time, but like, we haven't seen much of him today, but a great score. They're just going through the motions now, really, at the minute. You feel for Brigids, because let's not forget, Sean, like, they're missing Keane O'Sullivan, whatever with anybody else, but Keane O'Sullivan's one of the best forwards in the country when he's fit and ready to go, and not only was he a loss for Dublin this year, but it's a huge hole to try and fill, huge goal getter for them. And look, the heads are down there now. They're facing into a tough couple of weeks, because you know, they need to get some points on the board quick in order to avoid that relegation playoff.
And the fixtures don't get any easier in round 5 either, as Lork and Doolin unable to keep that Schlitter in play, and well, it would have taken a miracle indeed as Cuala romp again from defence. Jake Malone on the Schlitter. Played across the park to Con O'Callaghan, who's lunged into by Jack O'Neill, and the timing of the hit, I guess, maybe had he done it a few seconds earlier, but certainly when the ball was served up in front of Con, lunging, and Con content.
Yeah, but it all came, Sean, from Jake's ball. Like Jake, look, would have been disappointed not to pick the ball the first time, but it was on the move then, picked it. Great ball across the side of the defender that you don't want to be in, especially with Con. And Jack was also always going to probably give away that little free, and Con is smart enough to look for it too. Cuala pushing on here big time.
Liam Murphy with a personal tally now of 1-6, 3 frees, 3 from open play, and that beautiful goal just minutes ago when it was shovelled into him by Killian Shannon. Great distance on the puck out, but Brigids unable to get the bodies in under it. Instead, Owen O'Callaghan does the necessary for his club.
Like Nolly's pucking ball and after ball down there, and there's nobody really winning their own ball there. It's frustrating because he's hitting ball down there with an opportunity to maybe win the 50-50 contest, and Cuala are just winning it at the rees. It's something that Brigids will have to look at for the next day.
The tactics good as well from Cuala, deploying a number of their key ball winners under the Schlitter, as that one is sent in from Shannon. He's missed the target. Yet to score this afternoon. Jake Malone has got 3 on the other side of midfield, but undoubtedly Liam Murphy will grab the headlines in terms of his scoring exploits with 1-6 out of his side's 123. That's beautiful from O'Connell. He'll help himself to a score, his second of the afternoon, James O'Connell, but it was all, I suppose, done in the winning of the Schlitter initially, cantering forward, and was always going to score with no challenge. And I suppose if a manager is to nitpick afterwards, John McCarthy might point to a little bit of looseness in the cover there, but it's impossible to get everything right.
Yeah, it is, but and look, Cuala are just even, they're only in second gear really at the moment, but a great ball that was won inside, by O'Connell. I think he probably could have he might have nearly had to go for it. I know it's important to put scores on the board, and maybe that score thing will come into it at the end, but he probably had to go for it there now if he really wanted to have a chance to try and rein this back in.
Sean Moore, and he's worked like a dog this afternoon. He lined out at centre field from the start of the game, and he's given a very polished performance. He's won another free, which Liam Murphy comes across in no great hurry to take, his side leading by a full 16 points and 13 minutes remaining on this round 4 encounter in Group 1 of the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. Coming up later, of course, we've got Lucan Sarsfields against Kilmacud Crokes. More of that anon. That promises to be a mouth-watering tie.
He's got it, yeah.
He has indeed. It's a really fine puck of the Schlitter from Liam Murphy, and puts himself on to 1-7 with Cuala now on 124 to Brigids, 10 points. Well, Nolan has changed his puck out strategy, realising it wasn't working out, sending it down onto the opposition 45. It's good stick work from Donnacha Ryan. He has a go, and it hasn't the accuracy. And oh my. We made the point that they were, I suppose, through Paul Winters managing to stay afloat with frees in the first half and converting them from open play. It's been fairly torrid stuff in the second half.
It has, absolutely, and in fairness, Donnacha himself will be disappointed with that. Turned the ball really, really well, good pace, but they need to go over the bar.
Huge hit from Diarmuid O'Flynn. The referee had stopped play, and he's going to speak to the centre half back. It's Ronan McLaughlin, in fact, that he's going to speak to. He went in very hard indeed on Andy Power. Power never want to shirk a hit, but on that occasion he was blindsided.
Yeah, again, it was a big hit, maybe deserved a yellow card. Tom was right. Well, again, we have to commend the fact that Tom was right up at the play, and he's right close to it. It is physical off the ball for anybody who hasn't seen it. Again, Brigids will be just disappointed. I would have expected more for them today, and Cuala just really are starting to motor.
Diarmuid Breslin there, who's just been introduced. I think he came in for Brian O'Sullivan, but rusty somewhat, having spent a good bit of time travelling of late, along with Owen Lean back in the Brigids colours.
That's the hard part, Sean, as well, though, for club managers. Like, you're only really getting them back now from J1s, and you can't blame the young lads now for going off and that bit of travelling during the summer, but just how did the club season has changed. Like you've 4 games played, and you might have a young fellow over in Boston or York for the summer, and Brigids have been decimated at times with lads going travelling and with Keane missing as well. So it's hard like that. It's a thankless job at times at the real top level to try and break that ceiling as well. If you haven't got a full commitment from everybody to stay in the club.
The reality is, while it's a great life experience for a young man, it's unlikely to sharpen anyone's hurling skills a season or a summer of heavy partying on the east or west coast of the United States, or head in the middle to Chicago if you wish, as James O'Connell fires it up now, the full forward coming through the centre, and he has missed the target from what seemed... he's put it in. It looked as if it left his stick, that it was destined to creep outside the upright, but credit to James O'Connell, his 3rd of the afternoon. And it would have been kind of an unforgivable miss, really.
No, he's done well, and he's battled. They haven't won anything in their half forward line at all. Like Cuala have been really well on top. Nolly has switched it up to go short now, and that's starting to be working with. They'll just be 11 points in championship hurling. Here's a chance for Cuala now again with Moran.
And the centre half back has got to be very careful. Ronan McLaughlin was yellow carded just in moments ago. He's brought down Moran there, and I think the referee, he has a hand in his pocket. It could be the end of Ronan McLaughlin's afternoon. And if the referee does what we think he's going to do, Ronan McLaughlin is going to play very little part in the remainder of the action. But
I think Thomas leaving him alone.
He's given him the benefit of the doubt. As I guess with 17 points between the sides and less than...
Not even that, I'd say. I don't think it's... I think in intercounty, obviously, it takes that black card away from a goal scoring opportunity. Moran was, he did lie into him a small bit. I don't think there was. I think, in fairness, I think that's good refereeing. Go again now. One more tick beside your name, and you'll be sitting you'll have a shower early.
Who'd be a referee, I guess? When you put your hand to your pocket, it looks as if you're prepared to apply one rule to a fellow who hasn't been yellow carded and a different to another. Here goes Con, cuts outside a little bit, taps the sliotar back into his own hand. He'll have a go at the post, but he's hit the side netting, proving that we're all human. Con O'Callaghan misses the chance, and he remains on 4 points, all from open play, but the referee has given a free in for an earlier tackle. Showed great footwork there to step inside the tackle of Jack O'Neill, and incredibly missed the target, albeit from a tight angle.
And look, you're going to have to beat one of Dublin's best ever with Nolly in goal as well. But he seemed to be really gung-ho at going for the goal. Like, he could have easily tapped it over. He knew he was on an advantage as well. So maybe that innate forward mindset that he has, he kind of say, well, look, I'll go at this now because I have a free anyway.
It's in the DNA of him. He scores goals more fluently, perhaps, sometimes.
He
than
didn't
points.
steal it from the floor, Sean, either. Like the father as well, and Keane too. Like they're a serious GAA family, and the brothers out there with him now as well. So look, I'm not surprised, but if you're Brigids, you probably hope he just tap it over the bar. But he just seems hungry for going. Because look, he's thinking longer term here now. He's thinking championship coming down the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be up against possibly stronger teams at times, and I know I'm going to need to sharpen this blade before we go forward.
Well, sharpening the blade, literally and metaphorically, that is what Con O'Callaghan is doing here, as Liam Murphy helps himself to another point. That's 110 now for the corner forward. Huge hit over there, and there's a Cuala man has felt the wrath of his opponent there, and Killian Shannon taking exception to what has just happened. That was a very heavy collision indeed. I think Colin Cronin is the man on the ground, and the player being spoken to is Jonathan McGurk, if I'm not mistaken. He could be in trouble. It's a yellow, a third of the afternoon. He'd picked up an earlier one, and that is him gone from the action. He was yellow carded over that incident in the first half, and it's all over for corner forward Jonathan McGurk. And just when you thought things could get no worse for Brigids, they're reduced to 14 men. At ejected Jonathan McGurk making his way into the stand, and 19 points separate the sides. 7 minutes or thereabouts remain, and now Brigids a man down as well. Cronin's back on his feet, albeit he's being helped over towards the line. Maybe they'll pull him from the action at this moment. Here go Brigids. Donnacha Ryan setting off like a steam train. He wants a goal. Donnacha Ryan has to loft it goalward, and he has missed the target. And
I feel for him, Sean. I really do, because, like, geez, when other lads are really after kind of down in tools, he's really still going at it, and he's loads of pace. Like, look, shooting wise there, that's twice. It just needs to work on that again. Obviously, only been back in the game, but delighted to see Cronin all right, because he got a fair bang there now. I don't think there was anything massively overly malicious in it. It was a yellow card. Like, Johnny was always going to get that. He probably knew that himself. It's frustration kicking in now too. Winty might go for this, or maybe be thinking long term. Scoring difference. Will that have a bearing on what might happen in the next round?
Here goes the Brigids free taker, Paul Winters. outside the 20-metre line. He went for a goal, brilliantly saved. Really good work from Sean Brennan. Got the hurl strongly onto it, batting it back out. Perhaps a school of thought that suggests maybe that Jonathan McGurk paid a price for Ronan McLaughlin getting off minutes earlier.
Maybe I wouldn't question Gleeson or any of them now, because you wouldn't know when you could be facing them again. But look, in fairness, I think Tom has been up at the game all day, and I think, like I said earlier on, we're lucky enough in Dublin to have 3 or 4 really top class referees who are serving at inter-county level as well. So I think both calls.
Diarmuid Breslin has got a point for Brigids.
Yeah.
I suppose plenty of good referees. What they don't have in Dublin at the moment is a senior inter-county hurling manager. We talked about Shane O'Brien being a candidate. Neil O'Callaghan. Are there other names emerging from the pack at all, Joe?
I don't know, to be honest. Look, I suppose the next maybe week or so will tell an awful lot. I'd imagine whoever takes it is looking at today saying there's young Murphy is going to come out of it. I'd imagine I'm going to be looked at. You'd have to have a conversation with Con as well, I think. But look, the reality is in the next week or two, I'm sure the conversations will be had properly now that Micheál's gone back to Galway.
A little skip there from O'Callaghan, but that was a brilliant block by Brian Moran. Shannon has made himself a nuisance out there. Oh, that's a wild
You could
pull.
see it coming in a few minutes, couldn't you?
It's Ronan McLaughlin. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's protesting his innocence, and it's poor old Colm Cronin that was on the receiving end of it again, because he's got a few fierce belts. But it looks now as if Brigids are about to be reduced to 13. Jonathan McGurk given his marching orders moments ago. There may well have been no malice in it, but the timing was awful and the optics were really, really poor. Cronin came out of a ruck of players, the hurl straight across the legs, and Ronan McLaughlin, who was very fortunate to escape, well, maybe not very fortunate, but fortunate to an extent to escape a second yellow moments ago, is now about to head to the showers, I'd imagine. It's a yellow on top of the earlier yellow, and Brigids down to 13. And for Ronan McLaughlin, Jonathan McGurk, Paddy McAvenue and many others this afternoon is turning into a fairly chastening affair. 127 to 12 points.
Yeah, it was a heavy strike shot. Like, look, you could see it. We're advantageous up here because we can see that, maybe that split second before. You knew Cronin was going to go forward. You knew the body was going to take him forward. It was poor. But again, he's tried hard today. There was nothing malicious in it. It was just a poor strike, and Tom was right. Definitely a second yellow. And I suppose the lucky thing for Bridges is that the both red cards are 2 yellows, so there won't be an unavailability of players. That's wide. That's his first poor strike of the day. Now he's been really impressive, but there's one to maybe clip during the week for him, that you don't take the foot off the pedal now in regards to your standards as well. I just think he took it too quick there, to be honest.
He has 6 from 7, that being his first miss of the afternoon. Mr. Liam Murphy. Well, of course, when you'd Alan Nolan and Paul Winter suspended for the round 2 encounter against Sarsfields, is there a disciplinary issue in Brigids?
No, I don't think so. I think that would be really unfair to say. I think, over the course of the way championship hurling is, I was not the first game where they lost Nolly. I think it was for a challenge coming out. I think there's a frustration. I don't think it's discipline. I think it's a frustration. I think the year hasn't gone like they'd wanted it to go. They have a former great Dublin lad with Mikey Carton involved over there as well. Paddy's a good guy. I'd say I think it's just a sense of frustration on the basis that, and I don't think anything there today was malicious. I think it was poor call. I think it was just silly, stupid stuff that they can sort. So hopefully, and they're good guys. Don't get me wrong, Sean. They really are good fellas, and it's great to see the 2 boys back, Dunphy and Ryan, back as well properly. And they've added a lot to today. But Cuala are just a good bit ahead of where Brigids are at the moment. And surprisingly enough, if you go back maybe the annals of 6-7 years ago, these 2 contested a kind of county final before Cuala went on and were very, very successful. So Brigids will be disappointed with the last couple of years. They've lost some players, and Keano's a massive loss for them today. And the reality is, there's no county team in the country that wouldn't have Keano Sullivan on it when he's fit and well.
Cool heads need to prevail here. Andrew Dunphy getting a bit hot under the collar over there, and with 2 players already dismissed, Brigids at this stage, their race is run. But in terms of affording the manager an opportunity to pick from a relatively full deck the next day, as that one is sent goalward. Useful ball, but Cuala have the bodies back, and more to the point, they have momentum and the street smarts to be able to clear their lines. Conor Groar, what an afternoon he's had.
He's capable, he's well able, that young fella. He's good. You'd like to see him physically develop a little.
Moran going long, looking for Con O'Callaghan. Had the left hand high, but was unable to catch it cleanly. Credit to the defender. Dara Toomey trying to get it goalward, and it's now with the top scorer, Liam Murphy. Well saved indeed. Alan Nolan brave and out on the hurl of Con O'Callaghan the second time round. He's getting a few bangs for his troubles there now, and the referee sounds the whistle. I don't know, he's probably going to throw this one up, is he? Or
You'd ask yourself though, if you're Nolan coming out there, like where's my men around me? Like, you know, you're maybe 2, 3.
Well, 2 of them are in the dugout now, of course.
Yeah, I know, but still, you'd want a fella to back you up as well in the full back line, because the ball going in there was poor from Cuala as well. They've taken the foot off the pedal a small bit there in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Loads of clips to show them during the week. They're going to come up against stronger teams in the next couple of weeks. You feel for the likes of Nolly and Cavo and that down there now at the minute, because it's not an easy scoreline to look. When you get beaten by that type of scoreline, it's a hard day at the office for all the work you put into it.
Well, it's the metaphorical men against boys at the moment. Brigids 12 points, Cuala a goal and 28. The goal coming from Liam Murphy, their top scorer this afternoon in a virtuoso performance, albeit he did miss that one just moments ago. Mercury rising here. We're at 21 degrees in North Dublin, but it's been a pretty grim afternoon for the North Dublin side. Cuala coming to town and claiming a first win in this round 4 encounter. O'Connell got a bang to the head there. He's still down as it's pucked goalward, and there is a point of all of that, but James O'Connell still nursing his head.
Could be the last of the day, I'd say.
Paul Winters.
Look at that. Tommy's looking for the ball there now as well. He's had enough.
And Dermot Breslin, he's been sharp and lively since he went in as well, scoring and contributing to the cause, but a whopping 18 points between the sides at the end. Brigids 13 points, Cuala a goal and 28, and hard to take the positives from this for Brigids, although Joe did, I suppose, with Paul Winters and a couple of others putting their shoulder manfully to the wheel, but ultimately the gulf in class, much too much for Paddy McAvenue's men this afternoon. Instead, Cuala prevailing and plenty to spare in the end, 18 separating the sides.
Yeah, and look, you see Nolly coming out there now shaking hands with the Cuala lads too. They'll realise, look, the damage wasn't done when the 2 boys were sent off. They were just, it was 2 poor decisions, 2 yellow cards for each of them. It wasn't done then. It was just that sense of they were within 1 point, and they probably had a goal scoring opportunity as well at one stage and didn't take it. But look, it's a tough day for Brigids. It's a day where Cuala now have started to maybe have got that first win on the board. It's, they're only starting to motor now. Have they enough to really challenge back at the top again? In second or third gear, I'd say no. If they really get calm back on form and maybe take possibly young Murphy did really well today. Really impressed with him. Some of the scores that he got were highly impressive. He got 1-6, 1-7 at the end, I think. Missed 1 free towards the end. Cronin didn't see much of him, but he covers an awful lot of ground. Got 2 scores. 1 good one off his right there in the first half. And look,
he's a fair old workhorse. He got a power of bangs, and he was doing that, I suppose, metaphoric.
He got 2 serious bangs. And look, he's a doctor up in Mullingar. Like he's, like I said, he would have had a really good underage career with Dublin. Was part of Dalo's panel in kind of 13, 14, that kind of time as well, and went on to study medicine and making a life for himself up in Westmeath now. But this fella, that's a clip that he'll, I'm sure now that the Dublin footballers might send that on to Con now over the next 24 hours, because how he missed that I don't know, but what an impression he can have on a team. And like I said to you earlier on, he has everything, the balance, the strength, but he's human, and how he missed that I don't know.
Charging up the field there, you see Sean Moran and laying it off once more. He had a big bearing on proceedings as well, and there's a depth to this Cuala panel as well, I suppose, and albeit after a fairly rotten start to the campaign, they are beginning to find their feet.
Yeah, there's a depth without the household names that people would be, so accustomed to for the successful time they had in 17 and 18. They've lost a lot of players. They're down a lot of players. But when you bring Colm Cronin and Con back into a team and Sean Moran, like, they're winners. Like, they've been there. They've won the ultimate level at club. This guy, in fairness at times, young Rourke, he gets forward. It reminds me of young Scanlon from Kilmacud. Has the pace and the drive forward. Sean Brennan found him with a couple of good puckouts too. So they have some good young players coming through. Have they enough to get back to the ultimate level at Dublin hurling? I don't know. And Jake, I thought, again, led them today. Looks to have a very heavy strapping on his knee there, which is obviously something that he's carrying at the minute. I met him on the way, and a great guy as well, great kid, really. And they're all, look, the 2 teams that are out there, I know your question said to me earlier on about Brigids. Brigids will know themselves they let themselves down today. That performance wasn't good enough, and they'll realise that, and they'll have to regroup, because you don't get much time now to feel sorry for yourself. And Carton and McAvenue will have to have them in during the week now, and reality sets in. I'm not sure who they have left in the last game, but they're going to be under pressure now not to be in a relegation game.
Well, it's going to take a fair old turnaround on the training field for Brigids to recover from this 18-point drubbing at the hands of Cuala this afternoon. Con O'Callaghan came in and, as you see there, helped himself to 5 from play, but Liam Murphy, I guess the star turn inside. I have a personal tally of 10 points for the county player. You've Jake Malone and Sean Brennan also in Dublin county colours, and coming up the next wave of Dublin under-20s, obviously Jamie Conroy there, as well as Conor Groark. But it was, I suppose, in the second half they had a fairly hefty 8-point lead at the break, and there's the defining moment, that goal coming from Liam Murphy. Great, I suppose, composure with the keeper rushing at him, and Alan Nolan showed in that game, Joe, that he's no shrinking violet. He's well able to get in and get under a player's hurl, as it were, so Murphy had to be calm to fire to the net.
Yeah, look, like I said a number of times during the game, Dignolly has been one of the best keepers that Dublin have had, and I'd still rate him up there with the best of them. But look, he every ball he hit down on top of that half forward line today, it just came straight back up the road again at him, and he'll find that very frustrating. Going back to young Murphy there's a clip, you'll see it, and for people at home they'll rewind it back later on, they'll show again. He comes out on the right hand side. I'd love to see him taking that ball in his hand when he goes on the turn rather than the touch straight away. I think he has the makings of a really good inside forward, both for Cuala and for Dublin as well. But you'd love him to take those little small learnings from the likes of today and win that ball first in his hand, take the man on, because he scored 1-2, I think, within maybe 60 seconds or 80 seconds there in the game, and you know, he has real potential. This fella just, look, he just does everything for me. Like, he knew there he was on an advantage. Young Jack did really well on him, foul, but again, Nolly came out big and strong, went into the side netting. But he just lifts the crowd, even though there's such a small crowd in here. One of my biggest frustrations with the club championship, but he just lifts that sense when he's there. Like, that was a poor challenge, and you know, Johnny will know that himself, and rightfully got a second yellow.
Well, he'd been involved in a skirmish, as we pointed out, in the first half, and picked up a yellow. Then, moments later, of course, following him to the dugout was Ronan McLaughlin. But, well, the scores came from pretty much everywhere, albeit Dermot Breslin offering some respite to Brigids when he came on and helped himself to a score late on. There's that pull that cost Ronan McLaughlin his afternoon. And Con O'Callaghan off the other side with his 5th of the afternoon, and a really, really storming performance from him. And as Joe pointed out in the course of our commentary, there is an X factor around him and a buzz and a razzmatazz that he creates with a little bit of magic dust that he sprinkles on proceedings. That's helped, of course, when you have 6 All-Ireland football medals, 3 All-Star awards, 9 Leinster Championship medals, and have played 51 times for your county. But whoever is to take the Dublin Senior Intercounty Championship intercounty job will perhaps and undoubtedly be hoping that maybe at some point Con O'Callaghan might consider an intercounty hurling career. It's impossible to do both, or is it, Joe?
Yeah, look, I've made it very clear, if it was me, I'd be picking up the phone to him anyway, 100%, and it's something that is worth a conversation. Going back to what I said to you about his family and the roots that he has, you know, his father Morris as well, like, I think at some stage, I think he'd go for it at some stage, whether it's now, maybe not, but going forward, I think, you know, the likes of Keeney and that came back, Dotsy came back. Could somebody convince Con to come back? Potentially, but look, what he has with that group of Dublin footballers is special too. So, you know, within the parameters of what you're allowed to say and what you're allowed to ask, you know, you'd be a fool not to have a conversation with him.
But is it unfair then on the hurlers? I guess him rejoining a squad or joining a squad for the first time. Has he been? He has hurled for Dublin competitively at intercounty, or hasn't he?
Not at senior level.
Not a senior.
Underage, like he has, and obviously won the 2 All-Irelands with Cuala. So, like, again, you know, a lot of people would say, like, let's not make it the Con show, because it wasn't that today. It was the Liam Murphy show for a lot of it. Sean Moore did really, really well. But the conversation, like, you see when he comes in, he has that special talent. And if he was playing hurling consistently all the time, I know from looking at the last number of years, obviously football is his first love. But all those attributes that you put beside his name, surely he'd like a hurling one there as well.
Thanks, Joe. Full-time score in that round 4 encounter. Cuala goal and 28 points. St Bridgets 13 points. We're back with full commentary on Lucan Sarsfields and Kilmacud Crokes in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere.